we go. We are live.
Boink. Okay. Let me scoot in. And
Yes, I should try to scoot in. Yeah, it's there. I've done what I need to do. I got us ready.
All right. And then I make that go away. I'm going to throw up some hearts and smileys.
Wow. I totally misparsed how you were saying throw up.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a feat.
All right.
Uh-huh. We're here. Oh, I should check the birthday list. One moment, please.
Yeah. Welcome. Welcome. Ahoy, ahoy.
Let's see. Whoop, whoop.
I'm going to wait for the birthdays.
September. Make sure I'm on the right month. Because if you recall last time, I did a shout out for an August birthday.
Septiembre.
Because I was on the wrong month. We actually have 2 birthdays between now and next stream.
Ooh, yeah.
2 very important birthdays. VIBs, if you will. The good old Vibs.
Got it.
Jake.
Okay.
And Jonathan.
Hey!
So happy birthday to both Jake and Jonathan. I just did that. I own it. Jonathan, with the other fricative. Happy birthday.
Ooh, who's this?
And you. Well, happy birthday, the Geidel.
Unless they're also commenting that they're also rating their pre-order copy of Xenolinguistics.
Oh. Well, maybe not happy birthday, the Geidel. I don't know. And Tincture, welcome back.
It could also be a seconding of Tinctures, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy life.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about these kind of chat situations. Never know where they actually go.
Yeah.
And Jonathan, I'm glad I could be your alert. Hey, yo. Birthday.
All right. So I know that all of our patrons are very excited because today is the official start of the NFL regular season. So we're devoting an entire episode to a breakdown, division by division, team by team, of every NFL team and their prospects going forward. Are you ready?
I think I'm out. This is where we say David definitely needs a new co-host.
Yes.
Everyone,
you know,
who is interested, apply.
I will say this is something that is slightly interesting, even for people who don't follow American football. A couple of years ago, I can't remember. I think it was during COVID. Peyton Manning was a former quarterback. He has a brother who's also a former quarterback. And they just basically started a Zoom where they started commenting on the games opposite, the actual broadcast. And it was just honestly hilarious. People loved it. It really is. Because, they're not like commentators. They'll sit there and they'll watch a play and Peyton Manning be like, all right, he's going to drop back here. And he's like, and then he stops like, what the heck are they doing? His brother's like, I don't know. Like, that's terrible. Where they just say things like that. It's very, very humorous. Anyway, what I think is that maybe this is what Bibleridian and I should do for some sport that neither of us really follows, like badminton.
I was going to say cricket.
Cricket, yeah. Oh, your chat is now working. The Geidel? You think it's the Geidel, the Giddle, or the Geedle?
I'm going to say Guidle.
Ah, the Guidle. But that's a thing, the first thing that the Guidle has said since... Wait a minute. Where'd that other one go? Oh my god, it disappeared. The thing that the Guidle said disappeared. No, and me. There it is. Never mind. All right. Anyway, no. So yeah. All right. That aside, oh man.
Nice.
Yeah, Biblarian, evidently not a big fan of sports there at the monastery. I always assumed that monasterians, went in for, a good bout of rugby every now and then. I could picture that, they get together silently, but, jovially and bash each other's noggins in, going for tries and whatnot. And then afterwards they share a brew, which of course they make themselves at the monastery. And then clean with vinegar that they also make at the monastery. I'm given to understand.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
By the brand of vinegar that we get at Costco that says was made by monks.
Monks, the 4 monks.
Yeah, the 4 monks.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Oh yes, bocce. All right, so there is some news, and we won't.
I forget what news you're even talking about.
We won't share. We won't share.
You're looking at something and now that concerns me.
But we're gonna share times 1, and that is that we can announce happily that CopyCon, which is coming in less than just over 2 weeks. Is going to be live streamed. Now, it's going to be available on Zoom, and we do have that link. But what we're also going to try to do is use Zoom to broadcast to our YouTube channel. Nobody involved with the event, including ourselves, has ever done this before. So we're going to give it a test on Monday. And, if it works, then we will have things to share.
More options.
All right. Okay. Anyway, now it's 7 minutes in, so every 7 minutes or after 7 minutes at the beginning of a stream, we of course take a 30-second break for station identification, which we will do right now. Oops, Jess, come with me.
What?
Come with me.
What? I don't even understand what's happening. Just a second. We'll be right back. Apparently, this is not a way to run a live stream. Go back to our Okay.
Let's see. I don't think that we're back yet. I think it's still doing station identification, so we can just kind of do whatever.
Okay. Emergencies are done.
3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we're back. There we go.
Sorry.
All right. So
I know, right, Miles? That's what I was thinking too. Slight emergency, but we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So one other thing.
Yes.
Well, no, never mind. No, never mind. My brain was somewhere else for a second.
I know. No. How about this, man? We got some surprises coming during CopyCon.
I'm very excited.
It's a really wild thing because you have no idea how big these things are, or even what they pertain to, but we do. Anyway.
Jake, happy birthday! And also, you just said my name in all caps. And hello. But yeah,
Jake, there's the name of your podcast. Hijaked with Jake. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Wait, what? Miles, what?
Ooh.
You can't be terrified. Are you serious, Carl?
And
which avatar?
Yeah, which
are
avatar are we talking about? Are you going to be? Because you know what, Carl? You know what you could dress as? You could dress as Toph, as done in the Ember Island Players presentation in the episode before the season finale. Where Toph was played, on stage by a really, really buff dude, My name is Toph. Sounds like tough. That one. Blue Man Group type. There we go.
Yay. Okay, I got it. Thank you. So anyway, yeah, all that is to say, David and I have been very hard at work and had a lot of behind the scenes stuff and presentation work and whatnot. And and we are just really excited. And now I'm ready for it to be here. Except I guess, still have some other things we need to take care of first.
Yeah.
But still.
All right. So for the actually, it only does that when a call is coming in. Huh. Anyway, for the
what?
Everything went to the background on the screen, and usually.
Oh, I may have put my cursor in the wrong place. I was trying to use my hot corner to keep my screen awake, and I may have accidentally taken over momentarily.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, about Friday. I know, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm juggling 3 different things. But like, also, there's a lot of people potentially that want to get together. I think that the smart thing to do it now, I haven't seen it in person, which makes me less comfortable to do this, but it's to just do the same food court option that's on the Georgetown campus, because we're all going to be there, or going to need to get there anyway. And that should have enough area to accommodate us. I wish I could see photos. You know what? We know too.
And also Friday, though, like the live stream doesn't even start till 5, which means it goes till 7, which means by the time we left campus and went somewhere for dinner, it would be late enough that some of us would be just absolutely falling over with hunger. Just wilting. Anyway.
They might have light refreshments after your thing.
Anyway.
All right. That's right. They do have Nando's there. Oh yeah. Whatever's going to happen, Carl, you're going to be required to be there, of course, since you are the official, master of ceremonies for Friday. So just anyway, but the poll. Let's talk about the poll. Yeah.
I think I get less hangry and more floopy.
Yeah. So Sylvia gets angry.
Hanoopy is hungry, floopy. Like, I get really confused easily.
Floopy.
Confused.
I like that.
I get confused.
Oh, and we are absolutely going to spell that out in the chat just so everybody can see it. I like it. Confused. That's good.
All right. Now.
Okay.
You're going to need to move that Chrome window over. And I'll tell you when. Well, never mind. It won't be super live. But you need to move it to the left, David.
Okay. All right, so we're going to...
in a moment, I'll see if it's actually in shot when YouTube catches up with what you have just done.
Yep.
Okay. There we go. It's all in.
Okay.
The images are in.
So the poll this week was about our orthography, and I was very late in putting it up, so I appreciate that so many, jumped in and voted on it at... late of I'm going to start over. All right, so it's an orthography poll, all right? And we knew beforehand that what we were going to do was we were going to have, for all of our consonants, not the vowels, we were going to have some kind of modification. I just remembered words that start with a vowel and start with a diphthong. That would require something slightly different. Okay, but whatever.
Well, this is round 1 of decision.
Yeah, it'll. I'm now questioning why we have an empty character if we don't have vowel diacritics. We'll have to think about that. Anyway, I'll make it work. But we were going to do modifications for each consonant to indicate its mutation. And recall that we have 3 mutations. We have a nasal mutation that was triggered by the preposition om. We have a intervocalic mutation that's triggered by the preposition wa. And then we have a palatal mutation that's triggered by the preposition I. And so what we were going to do was we were going to have some sort of a small modification on each consonant with some specific character. For the nasal one, we were going to have M, whatever we were going to use for M. And what we were going to use for M was, it's that one that kind of looked like an M, actually, kind of an M or an X. It was the word for cat, and you remember that the word for cat is right?
Yes.
Yeah, starting with E. And so that's not the nasal mutation, that is the palatal mutation. First one, palatal mutation. And then we were going to have one for M. And M was going to be derived from the glyph for sleep, which looked like that. You know, it was a lying dog. And so that second column is M. The third one, we were going to do something with it. It was going to be schwa, but then we realized that we didn't have a character that stood for schwa specifically. And so, you know, instead we went in favor of the empty character type thing. So for schwa, I'm sorry, for wa, we had two options. One to go with W, and our character for W was the character for fish, which looks like this, and got shortened up to basically a C in the diacritic. And then the other one was going to be for rabbit. Rabbit didn't get voted in, but I created a word for rabbit that started with schwa, because we didn't have any words that started with schwa. And so you could see it kind of looked like a little E. Anyway, then I mocked up some options here. Two different main options. One where there were diacritics, another where there were actual modifications to the characters themselves. And then each one of those had separate choices depending on if you wanted to go with the rabbit version or the fish version for the intervocalic mutation. So those were the four options. And we've got some results. This was actually a very hotly contested poll. And the winner went back and forth several times, but also like the difference between the patron levels and the votes was extraordinary. So for example, the confidant absolutely loved option B1, which was to use the rabbit version and the modifications. And the other levels hated it. Absolutely hated it. Got 0 votes for the top level. And I think 1, maybe 2 for the middle level. Yeah, so yeah, I was going to say, so B1 almost came in last, but due to the strength of the confidant vote, it actually came in third. In last place was A1, the diacritics with the rabbit schwa, which had kind of better showing for the confidants and conspirators, but the least number of votes for the confidants, or consultants and conspirators, least number of votes for the confidants. So A1 finished in last place with 6 votes. Then B1 came in third place with 8 votes. The next two, it wasn't close, turns out. It was close for a while, but basically everybody liked option 2, so going with the fish, the backwards C. And it was just a matter of whether we were going to have diacritics or completely changed characters. And by kind of a last-minute margin of 20-9, we went with the composite characters. So there we go.
You know, well, one, I do like the composite characters better, so I'm excited that B1. And you know, like, of those two, of B1 and B2, so when you're looking specifically at the blue ones where it's numbered 1 and 2 and looking down the columns to see different glyphs with the variation on it, 2 makes more sense from an actual writing perspective. Because if you think about creating a glyph from left to right, and this is going to be written left to right and be read from left to right, you would start at like the left side of the character and then work your way to the right, and it makes sense for the flow of the writing for number 2. Number 1 requires you to come back this way, and then you would have to get back over to start the next glyph. And so B2 just, I think, makes more sense in terms of directionality of flow from one to the next. However, I will say that I'm a little sad that the rabbit did not make it at all into this writing system, apparently.
Yeah. Now, I shared an image on Discord that showed my practice because that first one did work a little better in writing. I'll show you here. Hopefully that shows up. But when you're not trying to like build a character, it's like you kind of come to a stopping point, then go like that. But I mean what Jesse explained is essentially correct, and that is in fact independently what Barry Garcia said, who's an incredible conscriptor. And also a patron who voted for B2. Anyway, so yeah, that works, and they are all reasonably distinct. I know that the this column and this column go the same way, but that basically that extra notch makes it easier. Yeah. It is definitely going to be more work than just doing diacritics, but I think it's going to look better.
Since when have we shied away from making you do more work?
I know. Essentially,
it's when I have to do more work that I say, eh.
Especially, I think what we really are going to need is just what's going to be difficult. The first and third columns here can essentially have the same glyph with just a different termination. I'm sorry, the first and second columns, same glyph with a different termination. The fourth column might need something different because it might need a sharper bend before it goes to the curve. Anyway, we'll see. Now, I did want to go over, if I can, I'm actually going to pull up the document here. And I don't know.
You want to maybe exit out of the show activity?
Yeah.
Because then we won't have the weird.
By the way, welcome to our new patron, Zhao Chan Wu.
Yay!
No idea if I pronounce that correctly. I really need to learn Chinese simply because I don't think that the romanization makes it obvious enough how things are supposed to be pronounced. There's too many quirks. And so it's like...
Well, I think sometimes, too, the romanization, in some cases, this is my feeling, attempts to romanize things across different dialects of Chinese that are pronounced very differently. But they are attempting to kind of romanize it so it's recognizable from one dialect to the next in the written romanization form.
Terrible idea.
But it's not... So, I feel like, for instance, ZHAO, I feel like that could be pronounced kind of differently across some of the different dialects. But I could be totally wrong about that. That's just based on my intuition of seeing things in romanization, where I get surprised that I'm used to the, Mandarin romanization system, the pinyin specifically, and I get confused when I see others.
No, I don't think anybody does, Mr. Theridian. No, it's just a disaster. I don't know how likely a tricontinental root system is in the future. We did a podcast on it, so I mean you can listen to that. Hear how we do it, how we did it. Done it a few times.
Say mainly you. I don't think I've ever done it.
Well, I mean, Chakobsa.
Oh yeah. But again, that was me just working within the system you created.
So I'm gonna just write something here real quick. So essentially,
Viren's car broke down.
Oh,
so sorry. Okay.
There's no such thing as fully triconsonantal, at least not for a natural language. So I wanted to give you an example of what we're doing. So let's say that you have this glyph M. It could come in 3 different forms, which I'm going to demonstrate by, with Latin characters using diacritics here. All right, so let's say that M is regular, right? Then we have M equals palatal, like with an acute equals palatal. With a dot, we'll say it equals nasal, even though it'll be the exact same pronunciation. And with a dot underneath, it'll be intervocalic. We were also going to do a thing where there would be like kind of vowels that came before the character. And so we have 4 vowels, and so like there would also be kind of, let's say EM, IM, M. Is that right? No. No. Wait, yes. Yes. M, M, and OM. But these would be kind of more regular than these. These would be subordinate forms. And so this, when you combine these things, right, essentially consonant, consonant plus mutations, and then the consonant with a vowel before it, that gets you most of the words of Hauchhoff. However, you could, let's say, have a word in the protoform that's something like that. And by the way, for the R words, words that have an R, because we will allow a consonant cluster with R, we'll just have an R after the consonant, and that'll take care of that. For something like this, though, we can have everything except schwa. Is that right?
Oh, for the well, that's from it's from sound change. The schwa is disallowed.
Yes. So what we need is standalone a, e, o, u. So in theory, we could have consonant with, and I'm going to throw that in there. So a consonant with its modifications. Actually, I'm going to put these in brackets like that. We can have R. No. We need some sort of vowel minus schwa. And then we have the complex that is little vowel consonant. Thus far, we haven't considered this. What we did do is we created an empty consonant.
So hello, Alice, and goodbye very shortly since you're running along. And oh, so sad to hear you're still dealing with that concussion.
The empty consonant has to exist because that's what we're going to use when a word ends with a vowel. Otherwise, there's no way to write it. So for example, if you wanted to write ma, what you'd write is M followed by ah, and we're going to have this is going to be that. So M followed by the ah modification of the empty consonant. All right. We might have 2 empty consonants, or 3. Like 1 for these, 1 for these, and then 1 for these. Anyway, so if we do have that for the empty consonant, if something's going to begin with a diphthong, let's say it was aum, we might do this. And then
to represent the and because no word would ever be multisyllabic, we're spelling out protoforms, right?
Essentially.
And in some cases, of course, we're going to get into compounds and stuff. So like you could have an but in general, that just means it's a homograph, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But for the majority of when the writing would have developed, it would have been a descriptive system at the time.
Yeah. The only other thing that we could do is create kind of a hacky thing where essentially would be subordinate form that followed by that. And this is, I'll show you an example of how this has worked in another orthography. Oh, you don't have it on here.
What are you looking for?
Hindi.
Oh, no, I have never used Hindi.
We're gonna add it real quick. Very sorry.
Why are you sorry? You sorry to them because you're gonna have to take time to find it?
Let's see. South Asian scripts. Devanagari.
Why aren't they in alphabetical order?
Huh?
The list was not in alphabetical order.
Really?
No. Like that should not be at the end. You know?
Yeah. There. Let's at least.
Well, I was gonna say don't. No, I had them in order of like Gothic and Runic were together because they were.
Very sorry.
I had them grouped thematically.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, but I want to show you some of these construct characters. So Devanagari, of course, has, so like here is like ka. Let's make this nice and big so that people can see it. Why am I doing this?
I was going to say you could also highlight and type in a number.
There we go. So that's ka, and just by itself, it's ka with a short ah. Oh, hello, Arias. Oh, hello. Yes, you are a new patron, and hello. Obviously, we didn't recognize you because your name was different, but so happy that you can join us.
Yes.
All right, so this is ka with a short ah. If you want a long one, you add that. And then there's other things. This is a short I, ke. Pretty cool because you add it before, even though it's pronounced afterwards. It's a long one. And then this one is a short oo underneath. This is a long oo underneath. But this is what I want to show you. There are construct characters. And I think this will, okay, so let's say that there was that. So that's ka. By the way, unaspirated. This is an N. Okay, so right now it says kana. Because it has an inherent vowel. If you add, we need regular T, I think. Which one is regular T? What's it look like? I don't want the, I don't want this one. The retroflex. I want the regular.
So, you can actually search Devanagari letter T.
Here it is. Okay, and then let's give this a vowel. Let's say this one. So technically what this says is ka, n, t. But I think, is that the conjunct character? Let's put where's the vidama? I'm looking for this little character that negates. There it is. There we go. Okay. So I want you to understand what just happened here. Technically, all right, this is ka, this is n, this is t, dental. in order to negate the inherent vowel of Hindi, you add, where's ka again? It's pa, where's ka?
Well, if you want ka, isn't that what you have there?
Sure, I get that. Okay, but we'll have to see if we can delete that. Okay, so this is ka. To negate the inherent vowel, technically you add this character below it, which is called a virama, and that is just K, so it's not a syllable. All right, so that's what it looks like with a little notch beneath it. But when there are construct characters, so technically remember this is ka, n, ti, with no aspiration. If you were to add the virama here, it becomes a compound character, okay? And so you don't actually write the full end and write the little line beneath it. You just kind of take part of the character and just throw it right in the front. Now, it doesn't work with every single character combination, but for very common ones like this one, which would be NT, you know, super common, yeah, rather than write the virama, you just kind of knock out that medial vowel and just kind of write them together to produce technically a new character, but what really is a main character with a little subordinate part. So that is something we could consider for this as well. Anyway, we don't know what's going to actually make sense until we write up how some of these things are going to work. But I'm going to leave this here because this might be the decision of a future poll. We'll decide kind of what looks best and what we want to do. And yeah, it's kind of it really is a nightmare to typeset though. It makes a whole lot of sense in handwriting because you can just do it. But when it comes to actually typesetting this stuff, I mean, imagine doing that on a typewriter. There was just lists and lists of potential conjunct characters, all of which were very simple and made a ton of sense in handwriting, but very difficult to actually set up. And then for Unicode, essentially they just had to build all of these, and font makers have to build these in and write them in as exceptions. So it's like when this and this comes together, produce this.
You know, the same thing happened with mathematical equations and the really complex like physics equations because they were made for handwriting. And so if you imagine the big bracket sets and you have to have the bracket around like these big lines, it's really difficult to line those up on a computer. Even with fancy computer software, it's still difficult to get everything lined up and typed out correctly in the equations because it was all handwritten. And so you could take up as much or as little space as you needed and add big things and smaller things inside it and have it offset by this much. But anyway, yeah, my uncle has a master's degree in math and so had to do a thesis on a mathematical theory, which meant typing at the time on a typewriter. And my aunt actually did it for him, the typing. So like he hand wrote everything and she typed it all up for him because she was a really good typist. And she had said that was like the worst experience ever, was trying to figure out on a like typewriter keyboard, figure out how to make it so you could type out these mathematical equations. And so she had to keep like pulling the paper up and typing here and then pulling it back down, typing there, and had to pull it because if you adjust it line by line, you're missing the part where you need to actually go. And so anyway, all that's saying a lot of our older systems were set up for handwriting, and yes, creating the digital version of it, like creating all the conjunct characters that you're going to have to create for this, is a pain in the rumpus. And you do have to do a lot of planning because you've got to try to figure out what you're actually going to need and actually code that all in. But again, like David had said, for handwriting, it makes perfect sense. Like you want that character, done.
Yeah. It's like, consider that like for simple math things like raising something to a power. All right, you just need little characters that say, okay, 0 through 9 and that, and then also maybe n and x and a couple of other things. But what about integrals? Where it's like you have the integral, and then at the top and the bottom, you can write any of those numbers, but you can also write full equations and things like that. Oh, good Lord. Anyway, all right, so let's, we're going to put this question kind of on the back burner for a little bit. Not that. What's the thing I want?
And Geidel said, as for the pronunciation of my YouTube name, it used to be Geidel, but I'm absolutely going to keep Gwiddle. Yes! We've changed the name.
All right.
Hooray for Gwiddle.
Okay. These do look pretty good. These do look pretty good. Okay, so we've got that looks good. I'm happy enough with that.
It's so beautiful.
There's a little bit of kind of a, because this is
listen,
like that and this is flat.
I know, and you're going to find all those little things and make them even more beautiful, but even if you don't, this is already, in my eyes, incredible, and I'm so happy.
No, I'm glad.
Which means the puppies are happy. We drove by someone with the license plate Doggies.
Oh yeah, that was
just
good.
Spelled out Doggies.
I'm gonna leave this for the time being, but sorry.
I like that you apologize to the desk. Your notebook.
No.
There's up there. There's a red pen if you want to do the red, or
sure.
If you wanted the same color, there's a green underneath it. Right, Miles? I agree.
There's I don't know if you see stage 3. Is there a version?
Oh, bye, Danielle. And hello to your friend before they moved to Scotland. And goodbye, I guess. Oh my God, Logan. That'd be crazy to have handwritten annotations just shoved into a type paper. And then you have to figure out how much space you need, and you better be right. Because that's all you got.
So this is, I guess, what I'm debating here. Let me fill this in a little bit, just rather haphazardly.
And Jake, honestly, I mean, I too would pull out the book if I were within reaching distance of it, because why not when you already know you have a book that has all those beautiful characters in it?
Okay, is there a version where we do this?
Oh,
so
I super like that. That's gorgeous. And in a moment, I'll let you know if you're on screen.
Essentially, what we're saying is that
it's on screen.
Yeah, so it's to try to minimize the thing that's kind of bumping in my head between the curve and the flat. We actually make this a bigger curve, like a whole curve.
Jonathan, Aboogada. I like it.
But
yes, Carl is saying yes with many exclamation points.
Yeah, so it's like we had this and it didn't quite work, but that's because I think we weren't really leaning into it, you know?
Yeah.
Let me try this again. All right, we're going to unsmooth these because we're going to have to make a nice rounded curve. And what we need to do is we need to care less about this. What I miss.
So Jonathan had said, why did I just see Abugida and think Abugida for the pronunciation, right? Mm-hmm. Miles says that's how a ghost says it. Funny in and of itself. But then Jonathan says, I was thinking that was how an old-timey car says it. You know, Abuga, Abuga, Abugida. Love it.
All right.
By the way, my grandpa and grandma used to have an auga horn on a regular car. Like they got the horn installed.
Oh.
And so when they would be driving up to our house when they visited, which was always a huge deal because they lived in Colorado, we lived in Missouri, so it was a big deal when they actually came out to visit, because it's a whole thing, right? And they would drive out, and whenever they would arrive, they would honk that horn as soon as they passed the mailbox, right, where it's out there. when they passed the mailbox, they would start honking the Auga horn to let us know they were there.
Oh.
And it was so exciting to me as a kid.
Okay, so now we've got that. And, oops. What we're going to try is we're going to try to move this. So that's 1090, that's 0. What's half of 10? No, we're going to move that to 1100.
Half of 1090 it would be 545.
Now we're at 1100.
So 550.
That's half?
550 is half of 1100.
It's crazy because I felt like it had to move here. But I kind of think I like where this is going.
Yeah, I do too.
All right. Bit of a...
Rainy days are always nice, Tincture. Though I gotta say, I am enjoying this really brilliantly blue sky outside our window today. We've had some cloudy days for a while, and I have not minded them at all because I super enjoy a cloudy day, especially when I know I have to be inside all day. And it's kind of nice to have the clouds supporting that, but yes, good for rain.
Kind of want to delete these nodes and let them do their thing and smooth out the curve, but I don't know where to put my nodes. I'm going to try, this looks like a good spot. I wanted it right at 500, 502.
Miles, I need more information about this Thanksgiving song. That's interesting. Also, have fun at trivia night whenever you do go.
I think that's not right.
Bubba says Jingle Bells was originally a Thanksgiving song. I guess that kind of makes sense.
502 again.
I'm going to read up on that while you...
499. 500, there we go.
It was written in 1850 at the Simpson Tavern in Medford, Massachusetts.
Yeah. So that's a much more natural curve. I actually kind of like both, so I'm going to try to preserve both and make them both into characters and see which one looks better.
Now, according to Wikipedia, it's just been claimed that it was originally sung by a Sunday school choir for Thanksgiving or as a drinking song, but none of that has been verified.
It certainly would make a good drinking song, like in terms of its, you know, its structure.
Hey!
Yeah.
So that was... It was not, though, necessarily associated with Christmas until much later. Tincture. Little jingle bells. This is looking really nice.
All right. Let's compare these.
Please, yes,
three.
I'm excited to see. Then it goes backwards. Oh, you know. Look at you catching up.
Okay, I'm going to move this over. Space these out. I want to zoom in as much as I can with all three of them on the screen. Can they all be seen there, or do I need to zoom?
I think they're... Just a second.
No.
Oh, tiny bit. If we scooch it back a little bit the other way. Just a second. Come on, catch up, live stream. Okay, so they're like, it's like right there at the edge.
Like if I had a thing I could drag, because like if I had a thing I could drag, I think
you
maybe
could get it right in between.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Let's leave it at that. All right. A, B, and C. A is the original. B and C.
I'm gonna do a poll.
Yes, B and C are new versions. And actually, I'll arrange them chronologically in terms of what I created. So
it'll be A, B, and C in order, left to right.
Yeah, A, B, and C in order, left to right.
And make sure you look at the screen for the current, because I think David had adjusted the order.
Look at them now, A, B, and C.
So look at them right now.
There
we go. Oh, Tethys says there's a subreddit R kerning that is all about examples of bad kerning. I kind of want to see that. Interesting. We've got, I was going to say we have a split, but we really don't. And I think we have a clear winner with more votes than viewers. So I'm going to end it. Oh, and it just pulled ahead a little bit more. So.
All right. B it is.
So yeah, Carl, you were one of the people who I'm glad you looked at the screen, because when you flipped the orders, Carl was saying the third was the best, but now it's the second that was really.
The difference between B and C is that the curve is higher on C. Curve in B is a little bit flatter. So I think that's the right decision. Yeah. All right, so then that one is going to be yellowed out, and then this is the winner. That is, yeah. All right, good deal.
So we have we have poll results. We had our fun announcement about the live stream. We've just updated a character. I think we should celebrate.
I'm down with that.
With our newly restocked and now super stuffed. Because David put the old in with the new as we're finishing off. So it is stuffed to the gills. We will not be running out of Kopicon. Kopiko. Sorry.
Yeah, we should.
I can't do it without the N anymore. We won't be running out anytime soon.
We should feel free to indulge outside the stream for a little bit anyway, at least.
For about 6 months. Yeah. Then we may have to worry again.
All right. Cheers, partner.
Yes, it is the antepenultimate Kopiko with respect to Kopicon.
Kopiko, the unofficial sponsor of Kopicon.
And have no fear that we had already stocked up for Kopicon outside of what we have as our home stock. So what is here in our home is staying here in our home. And I'm really sorry about the wrapper noise, but this wrapper is not opening. Bear with me one moment longer as this candy, which is stuck, comes out. Okay.
There you go.
Sorry about that. But yeah, have no fear. We are ready, stocked up for the big day. And no, Kopiko has not. However, their newest packaging now says the #1 international coffee candy or whatever. And I like to think that we are responsible for that.
Yeah.
Because the old packaging said nothing about being the number one. Now they're the number one. 3 years into us pushing them every week and holding a conference dedicated to their name.
Yeah, not Japanese. It's Indonesian. But yeah, I would love to see their quarterly earnings statements because I have to feel like we really did something. Hey, I had a question primarily for Carl, actually, hoping that this shows up on the screen. This fish glyph, is that essentially, I mean, is that just our other glyph backwards? I mean, I know it's not written that way, but is it essentially just this one, but backwards?
Which one did you point to?
Fish.
Oh, backwards or upside down?
No, backwards. Like, now that we put the nice little curve on top, I mean, I think we could essentially just flip this around, this one around, and that'd be it. Let's give it a shot.
This has a straight line at the bottom.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't necessarily need to. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
So here, let's give that the old flipsy. And
what, Miles? Smitty Werbenjägermunjensen? What is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely a Hawaiian word. I don't know why they used it in Indonesia.
SpongeBob reference. Did not pick it up. Nice. Okay, so you... Oh,
Sure.
there it is, all flipped. Okay.
We'll leave it at that for now.
I'm suddenly trying to remember if I need to work Kopiko into Jwadi somehow. Or whatever variant I can get thereof. Also, in our last LangTime podcast, I had mentioned several things that I'm like, I'm going to use that, and how I've forgotten.
I'm going to go ahead and try to create cat right now. I think that a couple of shapes will be quite useful for other glyphs. Why doesn't somebody just go look it up? I mean, that's what the internet is for these days. So we're going to need a nice kind of curve thing. I'm going to borrow this.
Well, Wikipedia says it is named after the Kopiko coffee bean found in Hawaii.
There we go.
So it's a type of coffee bean. Because coffee is just kope in Hawaiian.
With an E on the end?
Kope.
Oh, how about that?
And then kopiko, long O, is a Hawaiian bean.
Let's rotate this thing. Yeah.
Kopiko has been consumed by astronauts on the International Space Station.
Oh, geez, they're slightly more famous than us.
Wow.
That's good. All right.
If we eat 4 to 5 of these, that's roughly the same amount of caffeine in a cup of espresso.
Really? Well, I had no idea.
Now that's going to be your new best way to... Wow. Okay. There you go. All that good information.
Let's see.
Right, Miles? Stick 4 in your mouth. Got your espresso.
What's our top here? That's at 1500. That's at 1050. So I want that top to be at 1500. So this is going to be. We'll worry about that point later. It's -79.
I was researching Kopiko, and I am not keeping up with what you're doing. Which glyph are we working on?
We're working on the glyph for cat.
Oh, a very important one, yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna pull this. I know it's not looking good right now. Where are we at here?
That's a fun little dipsy do.
96. Let's bring this up to 200.
It's like a nice ribbon kind of font.
I mean, with that obvious gash.
It was just the backside of the twisting of the ribbon. It was very 3D. Now, when you made it all black, it would lose that quality because you wouldn't see the lines.
Make those more or less straight. It's 47, 3. And now we're going to bring these over to 400 so they're directly above. We're going to worry about this point later. We'll just leave them right there. Ooh, not like that. Or something. Anyway, now we're going to make this into a more gentle curve, but one that does taper off. So this, let's see, we have 825 and 648, so that's slightly less. But we're going to make it slightlier. So that's 200. 100 might be too much.
Yeah.
Let's make it 150. And now let's straighten these up. That's 825. 675 is what that needs to be. And I'm going to want to bring this down. We don't want it to bump up against this that's coming, so I'm going to bring this down actually to 750. I think that'll be fine.
We got a little bump at the where the green points are. It's
don't worry about that.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. Now, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to have this thing flow directly into it or feel like it's coming up and making a curve. I think it makes sense for it to feel like it's coming up and making a curve. So we actually might need the V before we do this. So we're going to leave that in its imperfect state.
Which, oh, the V, like that part?
Mm-hmm. We're going to...
And so he's referring to like the main, I would call it the big part of the glyph shape, which is going to V down.
And we're going to take it from this.
You know what that would also be a great glyph to represent? It's a fox. Look at that little foxy nose.
Oh, that's good.
That makes me very happy.
All right, so this thing is going to curve over now.
That needs to be a major sister language, not even dialect. Sister language is the fox language. Because they are technically dogs, but they are very catty dogs, and I love it.
Okay. Don't want this glyph to be too wide.
Oh, the base or the body is what Carl is telling me to call it. So like as David is doing these, I am really trying to pay more and more attention to what he's doing. I still am super lost on actually creating my own fonts.
Good.
But one of my personal goals is to actually learn the program to create my one-day font for Joie, which is going to be an intense process. But we'll definitely make it so I have to learn the program if I do it.
Yeah. Jesse's going for a logography with Joie, so it's going to be a lot more individual creation, as opposed to, you know, creating a few glyphs and then variations on it. Definitely a trickier route. But usually, even with a logography, there are pieces that end up getting repeated.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't end up being that difficult.
Oh, and thank you,
Bib.
Thank
here
you
we go.
For correcting me, Bib.
All.
Foxes are.
And then Tincture coming in with the all caniforms are dogs, actually. Ooh, ooh. Biology, fight. All right. That's too wide.
Ooh, and whether you want to say Guidel or the newly Gwiddle, Gwiddle is creating a LangTime sister language for mountain hares. So from Ingala. I love it. Logan, foxes are dog hardware running cat software. That is the best description I've seen. Done and done.
1,500 to, that's 1,000. I mean, slightly less than 1,000. We need to bring this in. 900.
So yeah, Carl, I have a whole system in place in my mind, but I have only actually created one glyph so far, and that was because I needed it to be created. Ooh, and it's the glyph for create.
Okay, these should both be at the same angle. But as I think I mentioned last time, there's been an update to FontLab. And now to see the stupid angle, you have to press this as opposed to it just showing up. 42 point. You know, this is annoying enough. I need to email them.
You should.
Because they're very responsive to me, and that's just absurd. And it's like I can't even fix it without.
I like I like how you added on a to me. They're very responsive to me.
They are.
Yeah. Only to you?
Well, yeah, kind of special.
Nice. Oh, more recently, because I keep thinking about, you know, like you complaining about Pages documents and how when you add a bookmark, it doesn't immediately take you there. You always have to, you get the little menu.
Yeah.
That's like, do you want to edit the bookmark or go to the bookmark?
Mm-hmm.
I now super appreciate that.
Why?
Because it would be annoying to go to a bookmark every time you're trying to edit one in a large document of bookmarks.
Yeah, I would imagine doing it now, like, or imagine just using it when you're done. You know?
Yeah, it's for a PDF.
It's going to need to be a little bigger. There we go. Okay, now let's see what angle these things are at. 37.3, 42.4.
Well, speaking of some people calling seals and sea lions water puppies, I had forgotten that in Ingala, our word for beaver was water rabbit. And I just find that adorable.
All right, now let's see what we're at. 38.7, 37.3. It's close.
I feel like this is much thinner than some of the other lines, or is that just me seeing it out of context?
That's that up there.
Okay.
But also, when you come at an angle, it makes it,
That's true.
Okay, that makes it fatter. Okay, so let's try.
Has anyone, so thinking like specifically of like Carl and other people who have created fonts, because I know David hasn't really done this. Has anyone started with an image that they imported and used it from there? And I don't know, can you do that in FontLab?
Yes, you can. And somebody from our family, Claire Ng.
Oh, that's how she does it.
Yes.
Okay.
Talk to her.
I really should, because I feel like that would be a good way for me to start, just to get the bigger structure, especially since it's going to be more scriptish, to get the natural curve that I don't necessarily know that's how I'm curving things.
Huh. You know what? This is a much bigger curve.
Bibluridian says the word for armadillo in Nahuatl is literally turtle rabbit. And I love that too. Wow. Okay, so Carl starts with handwritten. Oh, Arias is here. Guiddle is gone. Okay, Inkscape. I've never actually heard of that. Interesting, Jonathan.
I'm gonna do something quite radical.
For them to, okay.
I want this at 1900.
As Guiddle should.
1901. 1902.
My God, the book of Inkscape looks so cute. I kind of want to buy it just to have that book on my shelf.
Okay, let's do this.
I feel like I have always really struggled with vector drawing programs, and I liken it to my same struggles as I have with string instruments.
250.
Because there's something about string instruments where you can play the same note in 3 different ways, but there's something different about the tone or whatever that just boggles my mind. I'm like, I want to hit the piano key and just hit the key. I know how to get an A flat. I hit that key. And I feel like the same thing boggles me when it comes to vector kind of drawing things. Like if I want a line, I just want to plunk a line down and I want to do what I want to do. And it feels backwards to me to adjust curve lines. So anyway, it's going to be something I super have to work on.
Okay, there we go. Let's kind of pull this out a little bit.
Jonathan, I'm telling you, there's something to it. I don't know.
It doesn't quite work.
Oh, well, Miles has it the other way, so maybe it's just me. And Chris, it's really more about being able to share a typed document and to keep track, because if I have the glyphs typed like we do with our dictionaries alongside the Romanized version, then I can search and find out what that glyph is. If I have everything handwritten in a notebook, I can't digitally search it to say, what was my word for turtle? And so that is difficult.
Okay, we need to do something else here. I want it where it's straight, ideally. That's close. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these and make them not flat or not smooth. And then that's not working. That's not working.
Did you ever in driver's ed have to drive the car backwards, weaving through cones?
No, I never actually did a course.
Okay, well, I had to do that, and my brain struggles the same way I just saw you trying to adjust the curves there. I super struggled with driving the car backwards, weaving in and out of cones because, like, you have to turn the wheel in an opposite way, especially as you're learning to drive and you don't just have the things down yet. I think it's why I still to this day cannot parallel park because you really got to have like an understanding of turn this way to get the wheels to go this way. And I swear that part of my brain, give me a map and I can figure things out. I can visualize space. I can plot out space. I can draw out space. I can do all of that. But when it comes to the curves and understanding how going this way will end up making the curve do that, my brain is like, no.
Let's see, this is the problem here. I guess this needs to be bigger and this needs to be downer. But this just needs to be more up.
And Arias, yes, I hope your power holds out for many more reasons than just the stream. Because that always stinks.
That's just way too dramatic. I think I know what the problem is. This needs to be up. That's the problem. Let's put it like right there. I'm just eyeballing it. Now we can bring this down to a reasonable level and we can manipulate this. Yeah, it's a lot better.
Tethys, I still think one of our greatest accomplishments as a couple was me guiding David as he backed up a U-Haul trailer that had a car trailer attached to it.
Yeah.
As a separate sort of moving unit. And we had to like get him to back up and turn into the driveway. And of course he had no way to see out the back because it was, you know, U-Haul van. So it's like all blocked off in the back. Well, one of those trucks. So it was all blocked off in the back. So it was not just a big truck, but it was the added challenge of the trailer attached to it. And I still count that as one of our greatest accomplishments.
Yeah, that's a real...
Forget everything else we've done together.
That's a real relationship test right there.
That's true. We knew in that moment whether we would work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. There's our dramatic M. And I think that's good. Now, talk about not getting all the notes. Now we can set this up right here. And we know what we're aiming for.
Woo! But look at that fancy schmancy nose.
Yeah. So now we're going to move this up a lot and this up a lot. See, it's going to, we want it to kind of like
come off the
curve into that.
Yeah.
In fact, I wonder, can we actually take it up here? Be very bold of us to do that. Let's give it a shot, man.
Wow, Logan, that sounds awful. So Logan, while where he was, it was just a pleasant rain shower, but his parents got an inch of rain in an hour with hail. And so it shifted rocks across their property, and like the hail punched holes through the vegetables growing outside. And his cousin was able to go tubing in the backyard, which does not normally have a river in it. Wow.
Yeah, see, now we're getting there. Now we're getting somewhere.
I know, Miles. It's always so funny to watch these processes as they play out because it's like those looked like two very different things, and now suddenly, as he's brought it together, it's like, that's
yeah. Now we're getting somewhere. I do want to bring it in even more than that, actually, because I don't want it to be too wide.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, now we can work on fixing this thing. And honestly, I think the best way to do it might be to drop some nodes right there and delete those. We're going to give it a shot. We're going to do it right here.
And then you're going to delete the green ones?
Yes.
And that won't it won't melt the curve away?
It'll change it, and I'm hoping it will change it for the better. See? You can go like this and like this, and now it's a smooth curve. It's not necessarily the one we want, but you can see how this now looks like one piece.
And it didn't totally delete everything because the lines existed without the nodes.
Yeah, now the problem is, like, you can see these things aren't straight, so I didn't put them in exactly the right place. But we can make them straight and then adjust. So that's at 98. So now it's straight. This is at 245. This one's at 245. So that one is straight. That's fine. And so now these are our wildcards, and we can just adjust them so that they're where we want them to be. So it really is going to fall on this one. Something like that. Yeah.
Oh, and yes, it does kind of look like a really fancy M.
Yep.
But it's based on cat, and it will actually be the empty glyph. And so it's what David had been talking about earlier was that empty glyph.
Bring this down. Let's see. So I want it to get uniformly lower.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like it is. I'm going to bring this up by 10. I just feel like this left one is too high. So we're going to adjust these down to there, up to here. Yeah.
Is it okay that those are slanted, which you had mentioned will be thinner, and then this curve, it gets like slightly larger there?
Yep.
Is that...
The thing that I don't like is how it's getting slightly larger right here. That I don't like. That I don't like.
Okay.
And so what I'm thinking of pulling the same stunt again by putting some nodes right there, but at 500 ideally. Exactly at 500. That's 502. Don't embarrass me. 498.
And Chris, while I would spell the letter M as EM if I were writing it out, I sure do pronounce M. I don't really say M. I got to really think about it to get that M. But I've got that vowel situation going on before nasals, which is why pin and pen are the same for me.
You say that you pronounce them the same, but they sound different to me.
They sound different to me too, and yet I struggle with people tell me they're the same when I say them, and you've made fun of me for it before.
Sometimes, but sometimes.
So now you're admitting that you're just making fun of me for nothing?
No, sometimes they sound the same, but like sometimes they sound different, and like this is ridiculous. All right, hold on. Fine. Zooming in. There, 500. All right, and then I'm going to drop this here.
I don't know, Chris. I don't think there's an official spelling for any of our letters. Like, how do you spell H? You know, so I think it's like, yeah, just because we have the M dash and we spell it EM dash, but I don't think it has to be spelled that way. It's just a convention, and really it's not a word, so.
It's a lot better. It does feel silly to have these two sets of notes so close to one another. I want to see if I can actually delete these now.
Oh.
Yeah, for the most part.
I feel like it widened the boot a little bit down here at the bottom of the curve on the left.
I agree.
And I hate all those spellings of H. It looks so silly. It just looks fake. think that looks. I think we're getting places.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to putting them here and deleting that.
Deleting which one, sorry?
I think I'm going to go back to putting 2 nodes there and deleting these.
Oh, deleting the top ones?
Thinking. I'm just going to do a test to see if that is actually what will accomplish what I want. I think it will. So I think that's going to be the last change, but I want to get these to a reasonable place.
Did you want to bring them in a little closer, or?
I want it to be exactly at 500. Ideally,
okay.
I also want them to be straight, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers. You can see how that affected the inside curve pretty dramatically. But, yeah, I think that's good. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm just going to remove the overlap here and see if there's no monkey business up there. If there isn't, yeah, there's not. So then I'm just going to actually go ahead and delete this side and then copy the whole thing, paste it, flip it, and attach it.
Woo!
All right. We got 1340. Looks good.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That'll do it. Okay, so let's just for the time being, again, we'll deal with kerning later. Set side variance to 0. And another glyph down.
Yay! Oh, that looks nice.
All right, have I been...
Oh my god, Tincture, that was a little bit like that game with all the commands. Pop it, twist it, paste it, flip it.
Mm-hmm. There was a time where friends and we were playing that game a lot.
I never actually had it.
I didn't either, but somebody, was either Laura or Joey, had it.
I feel like I was actually introduced to it later than most kids played it. Like when I was babysitting. And then those kids had it. And so technically they were supposed to be playing it, but I was having fun with it.
I think we were a little old for it, but I mean, you know, competition is competition, man.
And speed. It's all based on speed. But it's also really good for just like listening recognition for following, you know, commands and memory. The other one you left for a while, or were we just gonna flip for the fish?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, just flip it and be done?
Yeah.
Okay. What about, are we doing...
Which one?
Oh, wait, we already did that one. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, and that one may be a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
I was looking at the pointing, because I was like, we have the M shape and we could twist it, but then they need to come out and curl in. Which is the pointy ear glyph. But
I have an idea for that. Let's do that. All right, so we're going to do this shape, which gets used several times. We're going to start by deleting the curves we spent so much time on. And they're gone.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
I love the little side sweep that got left over there.
There's your character.
Whoa! And look at that cut in.
Yeah.
It like cut it out and everything. Oh!
All right. Let's make these smooth just for the time being. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to flip that. Oops, sorry, flip that. And now, my idea is that we're gonna.
That looks like a perfect droopy dog mustache. Like a fancy mustache with a little droopy.
Oh,
like if a dog had a mustache, and it would be like the little curly droopy mustache, but you know, it would kind of come down by his mouth.
Now I thought you meant Droopy Dog, who's a real dog, you know, but doesn't have a mustache. And I'm like, what mustache? Droopy doesn't have a mustache.
Who's Droopy?
Droopy Dog, Hanna-Barbera character, very famous.
Just a second.
Hold on, where are you?
Droopy Dog.
You're not familiar with Droopy?
Oh, that's his name?
Yeah.
I did not remember.
Yeah. In fact, yeah, Droopy Dog comes right in. There he is.
Now imagine if he had a fancy handlebar mustache and it would just kind of hang down like that and go back up.
Good old Droopy. But
I totally did not remember that he even had a name, much less that was his name.
All right, well, we're gonna now save this mustache. I'll put it over there for the minute. We'll do something with it. Now, this character, this shape is going to be more, it's going to enjoy greater use, so I think it needs to be a little fatter. Something like that.
Oh, because we can use it for like the teeth and other shapes and like as a base. And
it's more prominent, like whereas here it's more subordinate, so I think it's fine. This part needs to be thicker. We might, well, might as well. Let me take a look. Also, here, wait, let's move this up there. What do you think? Do you think that's better?
I think it might be.
All right, we'll do that real quick then. Let's, yeah, I think
oh, bye, Silvertail.
Okay. Let's go ahead and put that in place. We're at 12,500. Should be 1762.11. Should be the same. Yeah.
Miles said that when you did that, flipping that glyph up and down really fast, a framed object fell off their wall. Like, just straight up, flip, flip, fall.
Here, wait, why don't I just do the same thing I did last time? There we go.
Or do that.
Yeah.
That makes it feel more balanced on the bottom where it gets that thicker curve, so I like that. Because, like, this feels more balanced as a unit.
There's a bit of an illusion in that it looks like this thing is all wonky.
It kind of does.
But that's okay. Is there a difference between Hanna-Barbera and MGM? That's an honest question. But no, that looks good. All right, yeah, that fits a lot better with the font. It's much more dramatic. All right. Anyway, so I have an idea for this one. The right side needs to curl under and the other side needs to curl in. So it's like you could imagine them being even, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them uneven, with this one curling under at the writing line in this one.
Ooh, a descender.
Yeah. So
nice.
Flip this around. We're going to have to flip these. Let's see what this curve. This is again a place where it's stupid.
So the MGM Cartoon Studio shut down in 1957, and then Hanna and Barbera took a lot of their staff to form their own company.
Ah.
And so it's sort of an offshoot, if you will. But yeah, I guess technically. And Droopy Dog would have been done in the 40s, so it would have been MGM before Hanna-Barbera was formed.
Yeah. Later, Carl.
Oh, bye, Carl.
$35.4. 35.7.
And yeah, tincture, if you recall from a couple weeks ago, when we were actually showing the poll results for what shapes would end up in the orthography, the pointy ear glyph was kind of the same as the legs glyph, except like instead of curling in, it curled out. It kind of went in the same direction. Anyway, the leg glyph was very similar to the pointy ear glyph.
There we go, 36.1, 36.3. Okay, now we have that.
Not only was Hanna-Barbera not a single person, but yeah, it was a whole studio.
It was named after two of them, yeah.
Yeah, last names coming together. Oh my gosh, Otter, yes, that's the best typo ever. Instead of English, it came out as Eblish.
Oh, that's what they call Georgian accented English. Somebody get that.
I might need help with that one.
B shows up a lot derivationally or inflectionally in Georgian.
Oh, in the Georgian language.
Yeah,
so not Georgian.
No.
The state accent.
This isn't coming out right. I need more space for that curve.
Yeah.
So we're gonna put some notes here.
Happens to the best of us, Arias. And then, oh yeah, that'll be better.
Yeah, and we still need to bring it down to.
So it's going to go down to the
writing
thicker
line.
baseline, yeah.
That's zeros. It needs to come down right there, but.
Yeah. Ooh, that looks nice. No?
I mean, no, it's definitely not perfect, but.
I didn't say perfect. I said nice, didn't I?
I suppose you're right. But it's closer. I think that actually.
I'm in the same boat as a lot of people watching who have commented on the fact that a lot of times when David does something and I'm like, "Ooh, that looks great," and then he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is trash. I got to do this, and then he changes all these things, makes it look better for sure. But like, I never would have seen the problem in the first place.
But then this is why, like, Carl, Barry, and I have our, private orthography to critique club, because there are a lot of people making conscripts that essentially, where the line they draw for good enough is not good enough. Yeah, and something's going very wrong with this glyph. It's a little bit better. But,
oh, Jonathan, that's wild.
I don't know. I shouldn't be having to take this out so high. Like, I shouldn't be having to drag this out so much.
trying to keep track of I kind of wish they, like, I can see it from a far view where the darker lines are, but like when I'm looking really closely at the curves, it's kind of like my eyes get lost on whether it's a main line or not. I wish they would kind of make them a different color slightly or something.
I think I'm going to need some more nodes to do what I'm seeing in my mind. Either that or I need to bring this. I might, yeah, I think I might have to actually change this. Bring it in.
Oh.
Yeah, so let me make sure, bring that into, make sure this, that's 31.2, that's 30.5. How the heck did that happen? 28.9, 29.6. Okay, we're gonna.
Jonathan, this is great. I had no idea you could get those kinds of upside down characters going.
31.2, 31.6. 31, okay. 31.2, 29.8. 31.2, 29.6. Let's try. Nope. No. This is the best that we can do. 29.8. Whatever. Whatever. Okay.
As a side note, Arias, if you, because like we definitely saw Jonathan's comment in our live chat. One thing to note is that for whatever reason on the playback video where it's like what you're seeing on the little playback portion on YouTube, the chat is restricted to top chat. It will not let us link live chat into that place. So what we see on our computer screen says live chat. What you see on our screen says top chat, and it's wrong. Also check your own settings and make sure if you're looking at your own chat that you're on live chat and not top chat. But yeah, it's a weird sort of quirk that we cannot change about our streaming software, and it frustrates us because we are very clearly on live chat and we see it, but it's just not on the little YouTube video.
So yeah, I know, but the thing is, in order to make an omelet, you gotta break some eggs.
Are you breaking eggs?
Yeah.
And by the way, if anyone's wondering, David would really never make an omelet unless it were for someone else. He's not an egg person.
Yeah, I can make an omelet for someone else. But
for me.
I bet I'd make a good omelet.
Oh, you can make me an omelet. I'll let you do that. I'll let you.
I'm going to try to put these mostly at the same spot. So what is that at? 1200. There we go. Now those are at the same spot.
Oh, that's interesting, Jonathan. Jonathan says that when YouTube users delete their accounts, all their past comments delete from all the videos they've ever participated in.
Whoa.
And so what Jonathan is saying is like, what we have preserved in the video would help a future viewer if they're watching and like people have since deleted their YouTube accounts, because then they can see at least some of the comments. Not all of them, because the stupid top chat versus live chat thing, but
kind of a bummer for certain things, because like when it comes to archives and digital like media and things like that, what that means is that it's also going to preserve comments and usernames for people that want to have them deleted or changed. for any number of reasons. One of which could be because they were commenting previously with a name that they used for when they identified as a different gender. And like, can you imagine that somebody in that situation was a frequent commenter, say on our stream for videos past. There's certainly nothing we could do about it. It would be like the type of thing where you have to kick it up to YouTube. And then it's like, what could they do about it? Very strange thing. Anyway, this is now starting to look a lot more like what I wanted.
It's looking really good. Like I see where you're going with it, and I think the changes that you made where you kind of brought it in and up a bit really helped.
Now, one thing, especially for those who are interested in making fonts and are following this for that reason, is you don't want to, it is ideal not to hard code some of these things. In other words, the fewer nodes, the better. Because what that means is that essentially the math is taking care of the curve, for example. And so it's going to be precise and it's going to be natural, even though the computer program is taking care of it. If you hand code it, there could be a lot of imperfections, which you may want for some reason. But in this case, it's kind of like, I want this to be a natural curve where you go like that. And I don't know if I have it right now because I've got these linchpins in there taking care of things, and all of these that I've put in place very specifically, they're taking care of things. Now this little thing that, again, and I don't even know what this is really called, but I'm going to zoom in. You see this kind of faint orange outline. I call this thing a heat map, because what it is the black line is the curve, the orange line is how it feels when you look at it. And so when you see a lot of orange, what it means is that this curve is not going to look to the human eye necessarily the way that the black line looks. And so like the outside, this is pretty good. It's pretty even all the way through. You can see it gets a little thicker here and a little narrower here. This interior curve is not as good. So you can see that it's like when you're just looking at this with the human eye, it's going to look like very close to this black line, then more orange, more orange, more orange, big orange, and then kind of a bump right here. And what that means is that even though this is straight, it's going to feel like when you're looking at it that somehow it goes to like, narrower and then bigger, and then it's kind of going to feel wonky on this side, And it's just a trick of perception. So it's like I'm kind of okay, even though there's a lot of orange on the outside curve, I'm kind of okay with it. The interior I'm not okay with. It doesn't look good. It looks wonky.
There is, and that's really interesting that you say that, because it's like I can see the exact spot where those nodes are when you go into the black mode, or the whatever mode this is called. Which is so bizarre. So yeah, there is something going on there that needs to be adjusted.
Yeah, and so and of course some of these minute differences will be more pronounced when the font is actually being used in like 12 point. And then it's like suddenly all these things get reduced, and you're looking at it and the character looks weird because some of these things are getting magnified. So anyway, one way to fix that is like, for example, if you take nodes and you just throw them like here, for example, and then you say, all right, delete this node, what it's going to do is it's going to autocorrect this and going to make a single smooth curve between the two nodes. But that's only if those nodes are properly placed. And you can see, something's not good there. And so they're not properly placed. One thing that they actually do recommend this with font software is to never have a termination like this, is to actually set up a tiny second node and just put it really close, and then you can separate. You can modify the two things evenly, but what we want to do here is kind of bring that in. And you can see there's still an artifact right here, and you can see it here, but this looks better.
Yeah.
And so what we want to try to do, because like with here, the reason that even though there's orange, the reason that it's even is because these notes are in the same place, 1541 and 1541, and these, like, I don't know what those are called, but the things that adjust the curves, they're also in the same place. And so even if they're not necessarily placed right, you know it's going to be even between the two. And so that's why there's extra orange, but it's even all the way through because they're in the same spot. You can't do that with this because the nodes are, this one's flat and this one's at a curve. And you can't put this one flat because if you do and you start going out too far, first it goes to a very dramatic point, but also if like you start pulling, you're going to see it's going to make that kind of bend thing. And so you kind of have to just do your best with eyeballing it, which is not ideal. So we're going to take this, put it at 1193. Now at least they're at the same spot. And just see if we can kind of do it. Like, I don't know. And also you can look at the orange and see what happens to it as you move the note. So as you can see, this is going to produce a bizarre artifact. And the higher you go, the bigger that orange gets. Or it's going to be like, it's going to feel really weird. This orange, we want to see if we can affect that. Because this, it's like, whatever. If we go down, you can see it's making the whole thing feel like it's dragged even more. So we should try to go up.
Oh, there was a moment where they were almost even.
They're pretty even now, see? However, this doesn't match that.
Right.
You see?
Yeah.
So right now the interior curve looks pretty good, but since it doesn't match the exterior curve, it looks wonky. So it's a balancing act. I like for things to be flat because they're easier to manipulate and they're more reliable. So like I like these flat things, I don't like this one because it's like then you could start doing this type of thing and match the angle of that. But then it's like, okay, well, what do you want to do if you want to move this thing up? You don't know where this note is. Like if you want it to sit right at 0. And then it's like if you want to start to make minor adjustments, you have to go, instead of just going left or right, you have to go up, left, and so on because you can't pull these things out at a straight angle.
Okay.
Anyway.
Also, Magpie, I'm super curious to know more about this bird that you didn't recognize.
Have you identified the leader?
Ooh, Merlin Bird ID thinks it's a palm warbler, which is classified as rare. Little yellow and brown bird. A palm warbler. That's a word.
By the way, something else you can look at, you can see as you drag this along the width. Lovely bird. So you can see we're sitting at a width of like 200. Now it gets fatter and fatter and fatter, skinnier and skinnier and skinnier, which is fine, that's what we want, but suddenly it's getting fatter and fatter and fatter again, all the way up to like 186 before it gets skinnier. And so that's what's making it look so off, because it's like if the line is going to get skinnier and skinnier, then it needs to do that, but it's not. It's experiencing bigger growth here, which is not what this curve is supposed to do. There are certain styles where it can do that, but not this one. So we need to try to bring this up until it gets skinnier and skinnier all the way through. Which means that that needs to be greater than 195. Which means that that needs to go up to 200. And this needs to come in. We're going to straighten it, bring it in, and then it's still not working. It's It's still not working.
And here I was like, oh, that looks better, but no.
It's too flat right here. Okay. It does get fatter at this point because like this point is going to be 200.
Yeah.
And you hear it gets fatter. Not much, but it does. And also, yeah, it's just too flat right there. What we want to be able to do is, and it's like you can see this is the fattest point right here, so it's probably the worst place to drop nodes. But if we did, that's smoothed out. That is bad. We're gonna actually try deleting.
I was gonna say, can you delete one? Oh.
Kind of.
I think that may be getting there.
It may be getting there, but let me show you what it looks like. Is this the one? No, not that.
Oh, they have some great album covers, though.
They do. Is this one I'm thinking of? No. Shoot. Why
don't you just say Meat Puppets albums?
Oh, man, what am I thinking of? I was trying to think of the one where there's a moon, but you know, it may not be the front cover. But we'll go ahead and pull up the cover of the Meat Puppets album, Mirage. I want you to look at these curves right here, like this pink one right here. So you can see how it goes fat, 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 skinny, 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 fat, 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 right? That's what it's feeling like, but that's not what it's supposed to be.
Is it this one?
No, oh, I never knew they did that. I like that song. Look at that jackalope. Anyway.
I was trying to help.
So anyway, you can see, and this is what the heat map shows you. Look at this. So it's like fatter right here, skinnier here, which gives it that, like the kind of flattened crescent moon shape. It's less pronounced on the exterior curve. It's more on the interior curve. And so the thing is, if we put this thing down more, right, to try to combat that, this point becomes flatter. And so it's like as you get here, suddenly it's a flat line. If you start to bring it up to fix that, this problem gets more pronounced. See? So what you kind of have to do is bring this out a little bit, maybe? Which of course exacerbates that problem.
Yeah.
It's close. Because maybe now you can bring this up a little.
The amount of perfection David puts into his glyph work is fascinating to me, because in reality a lot of these are going to be very small and you wouldn't see it till you made it very big. But when you did make it big, it would make a difference. I would probably give up long before now and say, good enough. I love the dedication you have.
I'm actually going to leave it at that for right now. I want to zoom out. And see, now I have a problem with the exterior. It's too squat.
And Arias, like, yeah, I mean, if you want it to be of a certain quality, then it's maybe, yeah, it's a far way out for getting a font if you're not into font making. But any start is a start, and you can try and see how it works. And, you know, you can always go back, just like the Yang Elephant that we did the first go through. David never did like, and I see why. You know, it was not as good as the later fonts. And so we've actually been using patron stream time to go back and fix it, based on advice from Carl Buck and Barry Garcia. and it's coming out so much nicer. But it's like you can always do that. You can always say, you know what, I'm going to make a first one, and later I can go back and make it better once I know a little bit more and am able to do more.
I have an idea that I think is going to fix it, because here's one of those situations where the heat map, it looks pretty good zoomed in, but when you zoom out, notice that it actually makes a difference. And see how it kind of looks squatter here. Mm-hmm. It was a slight thing on the heat map, and it was actually pretty consistent, but it makes a difference. So I do have an idea, though. I'm going to put some nodes at 250 and start over. So we're going to delete this. We're going to delete this. We're not going to worry about it. And what we're going to do is we're going to take these nodes that are at 250. We're going to put them where we want. And then make the curve after that.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and announce our poll will be the diphthong decisions, I believe.
It is?
Probably. It's 401, so.
Oh, yeah.
It may not be. We may come up with a different poll. You may be surprised what the poll is this week. Who knows? But we at least have that as an option, is to talk about how to do diphthongs. And so, especially diphthongs where there's no onset consonant. So, yeah, while David's finishing this, we will be going pretty soon because we have to get on with our day, too.
Yeah.
Diphthong decisions. That will be the first track on our EP. Yes.
This is actually a lot worse. Okay. All right.
Oh.
Hmm?
That feels like it's getting there.
No, I know. I just ended up undoing a whole bunch of stuff that I was doing. Essentially, you want to like hard code where these nodes are going to be, and then fix it afterwards.
And yeah, tincture, or
almost tempted to do those.
Ooh. Our goal is has always been that our last episode of season 5 will be the one we do live at the day before KopiCon. And it will be where we are. We kind of started orthography much later this season than we normally did, but we filled out the grammar much more than we ever have for any other language. And so, that's kind of exciting.
Just going to eyeball it.
That little flat.
Oh yeah, I know. Believe me, I know. He called me mad, but
oh my!
That was just an accident.
I thought you were being really dramatic and saying, "This is it. A twisting of the pen it shall be."
All right, we're getting closer.
Well, we may have to sign off and let people go while you continue to play on this, but I think we should end the stream.
Yeah.
And so we're going to stop here. David's going to keep playing. But I'm going to go ahead and end us here. So patrons, you'll get something, a poll of some kind. If you haven't listened to it yet, we did do a podcast drop this past weekend, and so there is a new podcast available for our patrons at those levels. And yes, we hope you all have a wonderful week, and we look forward to seeing you in what will be the last live stream here in this office space before our live stream, right before KopiCon. So that's very exciting, and we look forward to seeing you all then. In the meantime, everyone, stay grammar, and we will see you soon.
Bye, everybody.